your Alaska Link weather for Fairbanks and the interior.
We are back underneath a very warm temperature trend as we are dealing with hot temperatures, dry air conditions with that low relative humidity, and we have been experiencing some of those stronger wind gusts, which does continue to not only expand the time, but the coverage of some of these red flag warnings as this environment is only expanding through even the west coast here as we head through the end of the week. We're also monitoring some thunderstorm activity. It is minimal, but there is that threat as lightning is one of those natural causes that starts these wildfires, but we also will keep an eye on some increased potential for the coverage of those thunderstorms through the end of this week. But that tap of some moisture is then going to be feeding into what will be some heavy rains possible for next week, and those wetting rains will be key depending on how this wildfire season continues to enact it here across the interior under the conditions that we have pulled into this Wednesday, and will continue for our Thursday with a morning low 57 to an afternoon high of 87, which is even near record status. 89 is where that record sits in 1990. Now, we will note that when it comes down to this warmth, it is paired up with that all-day sunshine. Winds not looking to be as strong as they've been building into here this Wednesday. But what we are noting with these winds is that we will see that they are at their strongest here through this 48 time period of starting this concern of our Wednesday morning lasting into our Thursday, where we have, again, as mentioned, not only expanded the time frame, but the coverage of this red flag warning towards the Brooks Range and then into the North Slope. Even heat advisories in play as there is some strong warmth also in place with this heat. Now, when it comes down to those winds, we do see a little their trend of pulling those winds back. Still, we'll talk about the winds being a concern, but also look at the switch in the winds that comes Sunday, Monday. That is our forecast changer that we will be monitoring. But up through that point, it's about the hot conditions, the dry conditions with some of that wind. We do know there is some minimal thunderstorm activity, so quick look at that forecast does show a few of those isolated spots developing across the Alaska Range. Again, minimal coverage for now, but there will be an increased conversation to come by Saturday. We are holding on to 21 hours and 14 minutes of daylight for our Thursday, and that sunshine is going to be some hot sunshine. This is, again, that prolonged period where not only is it just how warm we're getting in the afternoon hours, but we don't get that relief in the overnight as we still have those extended overnight, extended daylight hours. So as we see many of our communities looking to reach high temperatures near those 80s, even in Nana getting to 87, Circle at 82, and we will hold on to reaching towards those upper 80s at least through Saturday, where we do talk about increasing to some of that storm coverage, and then we will track those changes into next week where we cool the temperatures down and increase our rain showers.